Denise Amber Lee, Northport, Florida, January 17, 2008. Denise Amber Lee was a 21-year-old mother of 2 young sons. Denise was home alone with the children when a man, Michael King, knocked on the door under the pretense of asking for directions. When Denise opened the door, he forced his way in, tied her up, and kidnapped her in front of her young children. King put her in his car and drove away. Sitting in the back seat, Denise showed incredible composure. She managed to discreetly reach King's mobile phone and called the police. She whispered to the dispatcher, "I have just been kidnapped." She was able to clearly give her name, describe the vehicle, and indicate where they were going. However, the dispatcher asked several times for clarification and could not understand her whisper. At one point, King noticed the phone. Sounds of a struggle and Denise's cries can be heard before the call was cut off. Due to the dispatcher's hesitation and error, valuable time was lost. Police tracked King using the signal from his mobile phone and arrested him at his home. However, Denise was not with him. 2 days later, after an extensive search, her body was found in a shallow grave. Michael King was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to death. Jennifer Penn, Ontario, Canada, November 8, 2010. Jennifer called the police in a state of hysteria. She reported that 3 armed intruders had broken into their home. They tied her up on the 2nd floor and took her parents, Bea and Han Pan, to the basement. She then heard gunshots. When the police arrived, they found Jennifer's mother, Bea, dead. Her father, Han, was severely injured and unconscious. Jennifer appeared to be the only witness. However, when her father regained consciousness, his testimony completely dismantled Jennifer's version of events. He told the police that he saw his daughter calmly talking to the attackers and moving freely around the house, rather than being tied up. It turned out that she had hired hitmen through her boyfriend to kill her parents and inherit their estate, valued at nearly $1 million. In 2014, Jennifer Penn and her accomplices were found guilty of murder and attempted murder. She received 2 life sentences. In 2023, an appellate court ordered a new trial due to a judge's error in instructing the jury. However, the conviction for the attempted murder of her father remained in force. Larry Gene Bell, South Carolina. Larry Gene Bell was an electrician who hid a serial killer behind the mask of an ordinary working man. His main weapon was not only a knife or a gun, but also the telephone, which he used for psychological torture. In 1985, Bell kidnapped Shari Smith. After that, a phone call rang at the Smith family home. It was Bell. For several days he tormented the family, calling them repeatedly. He forced Shari to speak with her parents, giving them false hope, and then described what he was doing to her. He made her write a farewell letter, which he later sent to the family. The peak of his sadistic game was a call in which he calmly and chillingly described where they could find their daughter's body. Several weeks later, he kidnapped Deborah Mai Helmick and once again used the telephone to torment her family. The FBI recorded every conversation. They began to narrow in on the killer. The breakthrough came from a letter Bell had sent to the Smith family. Forensic experts discovered an indented imprint of a phone number. The number belonged to an elderly couple for whom Bell had done electrical work. Larry Gene Bell was arrested, convicted in 1996 of kidnapping and murder, and executed in the electric chair. Charles Bothuell V, United States, 2014. Charles and Monique Bothuell contacted the police and the media, claiming that their son Charlie was missing. They actively participated in the search and even appeared on national television, tearfully begging their son to come home. When police decided to search the house once again, they found Charlie alive in the basement. He had been hidden behind an improvised barricade made of boxes. From there, having found a way to contact the outside world, the boy himself managed to send a signal for help, which ultimately led to his discovery. The investigation revealed the truth. His parents had been systematically abusing him. They starved him, forced him to perform exhausting physical exercises as punishment, and kept him isolated in the basement. Their public tears were a cynical performance meant to deflect suspicion. Charles and Monique Bothuell were arrested. They were convicted of child abuse. Charlie was taken from the family and placed under the care of social services. The Keddie Murders. Keddie Resort, Northern California, April 11, 1981. Sue Sharp, a single mother, moved into cabin number 28 with her 5 children to start a new life after her divorce. On April 12, 1981, Sheila Sharp, who had spent the night at a neighbor's house, returned home. She opened the door, went inside, and discovered that her mother Sue, her brother Johnny, and his friend Dana Wingate had been brutally murdered. Their bodies were bound with tape and wires, and they had suffered numerous stab wounds and blunt force injuries from a hammer. The 3 younger children who were in the adjacent room were unharmed. A call to the police was made. The crime scene was not properly secured, and potential evidence was destroyed or ignored. Police focused on incorrect theories and failed to thoroughly investigate key suspects, including a local resident with a criminal past, who was later found to have confessed to the murders. A particularly mysterious part of the tragedy was the disappearance of Tina Sharp, Sue's daughter. 3 years later, her skull and several bones were found in a forest, dozens of miles from Keddie. Sandra Herold, Stamford, Connecticut, February 16, 2009. Travis was a chimpanzee, whom Sandra Herold and her husband raised like their own child. He wore clothes, slept in their bed, drank wine from a glass, and even knew how to use a computer. Travis was a local celebrity, and appeared in commercials. One day Sandra's friend Charla Nash came to visit. For unknown reasons, Travis flew into a rage and attacked her. Sandra, trying to stop him, struck him with a knife and a shovel, but this only enraged the animal further. In desperation, she ran to the phone and called the police. Amid the screams and the chimpanzee's growling, Sandra hysterically shouted into the receiver, "He's killing my friend, he's tearing her apart, send the police, with a gun, with a gun, with a gun." The dispatcher, not immediately understanding what was happening, repeatedly asked, "Who is killing your friend?" "My chimpanzee," Sandra screamed. When police arrived, the crazed Travis, covered in blood, attacked a patrol car. Officers were forced to open fire, and shot him dead. Charla Nash survived, but the chimpanzee left her blind, and severely disfigured. Charla Nash underwent many surgeries, including a full face transplant. Amanda Berry, Cleveland, Ohio, May 6, 2013. Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight were three young women who disappeared in Cleveland. Their families and the police searched for them for years, but without success. All of them became victims of Ariel Castro, a school bus driver, who lured them into his home and then held them captive. For 10 years the women were subjected to unimaginable torture, abuse, and cruelty. Amanda Berry gave birth in captivity to a daughter fathered by Castro. One day, however, Castro forgot to lock the interior door of the house when he left. Amanda noticed this and realized it was her only chance. She ran to the front door and began screaming and pounding on it. She was heard by a neighbor, who helped her break open the lower part of the door. Escaping to freedom with her daughter in her arms, Amanda ran to a neighbor's house and called the police from there. "Help me, I'm Amanda Berry, I was kidnapped, I went missing 10 years ago, I'm here, I'm free now." When the dispatcher tried to clarify the details, Amanda added that there were other girls inside the house. Police arrived immediately, and found Gina DeJesus and Michelle Knight inside. Ariel Castro was arrested the same day. To avoid the death penalty, Castro pleaded guilty, and was sentenced to life imprisonment, plus 1,000 years. 1 month after sentencing, he took his own life in his prison cell. Nicole Atkinson, Frederick, Colorado, August 13, 2018. Chris and Shanann Watts appeared to be the perfect family. Shanann was active on social media, where she created the image of a happy wife. She was 15 weeks pregnant, and the mother of 2 daughters. Chris had a mistress and wanted to start a new life. One day Shanann did not show up for a doctor's appointment, and did not answer her calls. Her close friend Nicole Atkinson became worried and called the police to request a welfare check. When an officer arrived at the Watts home, Chris was already there, behaving like a concerned husband. He let the officer and Nicole into the house. During this visit, Nicole continued speaking with the dispatcher on the phone, describing what was happening. Nicole and the officer searched the house, noting that Shanann's wallet and phone were there, but she and the children were gone. Watts even appeared on television, urging his family to return. During questioning, he failed a polygraph test, and eventually confessed. He killed his wife and then drove her body and his still-living daughters to the oil site where he worked. There he strangled his girls and dumped their bodies into oil tanks, and buried his wife nearby. Chris Watts was sentenced to 5 life sentences.